Yeah, let me explain some stuff about quantum computing and AI. First of all, Willow is not new. Like, IBM has had this for years. If you want to learn quantum computing, there's like an API and you can just rent the chips. The fact that you can rent these chips should tell you something about the usefulness of quantum. There's a few problems that, like, some people have asked questions about, like, can quantum help AI in certain ways, right? This kind of algorithm is not actually what runs large language models. Language models use this thing called a transformer, which is not a gradient descent algorithm. They do produce probabilities, but they don't map a large probability space to optimize for one value, which is what quantum computers are really good at. Quantum computing is not the same as normal computing, as in the same problems can't be solved by a quantum chip as can be solved by classical. Problems that you can solve really that are better are big exploration problems where you're mapping a big probability space. Think trying to figure out all of the variables to make the specific best type of bread in terms of like 5 different scores, like crustiness and elasticity and like stuff like that, right? There's a lot of things that go into that. What kind of yeast, what time of day, how hot throughout this process, how hot throughout a different other process. There's like all these different variables you'd have to optimize for to get like the rate of 5 different variables on the way out. That's what's known as gradient descent. And we found that like it actually is not very useful for anything that is a dense or irregular matrix, right? And that's the sort of math reason why it's not useful, because probabilities are not mappable. Like you can't take a probability space you don't understand and then map it onto a quantum system because you don't understand the probability space to map it in the first place, and so you can't set up the algorithm. You're not going to see quantum chips in your phone. You're never going to see quantum chips in your phone. They're not useful for all the same things that a normal processor is useful for. And you can't like map all problem spaces onto the quantum chips. They're also orders of magnitude more energy intensive and like expensive to produce, so it's not gonna really give you a good speed up, and it's like too complicated to put out into the real world. They're still refrigerator sized things, and that's not even sort of counting the number of like fiddly things that have to be controlled about the environment and electromagnetic radiation around them and all that kind of stuff. They're not just the new generation of chips. It sounds like they are, and they're very much being positioned as that by people who want to sell stock to investors. But let me tell you, they're not just like a new chip generation. They really are a fundamentally different thing, used for only some sets of problems, just due to their nature and what it is that you're even trying to measure. So quantum is not going to be the reason the AI like breaks out or like gets loose or like does anything. Like quantum and AI don't pose a like significant mixing together risk. It's going to be bots on X that escape containment and cause the end.